folks, free play for Hank. Well, this week I'm going to show you a crusher bucket attachment that fits my mini excavator that I built to crush concrete rubble into gravel. And then later I'm going to play one of my favorite ELO songs, Turn to Stone. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, so we've got all these big chunks of concrete that I want to crush for gravel, but my jaw crusher is only 4x6 capacity. So we're going to be making an attachment for my Vio 30 mini excavator to break this stuff down so it'll go through the crusher. Okay, here's a rough drawing of what we're going to be building here. Disregard the measurements because I've changed it a couple of times since then. This is the side view, and you see the hydraulic cylinder here, and this is the jaw that's going to move back and forth to crush. And this is where it's going to pin onto the quick change, and you'll be able to scoop from here like a regular excavator bucket and crunch it with the jaw, and then it'll fall out the bottom here. This is what it's going to look like from where, if you're sitting in the cab looking at it, this is roughly what it's going to look like here with a jaw. It's going to have some teeth on it to help break the concrete easier. I haven't decided whether I'm going to put bucket teeth on it yet or not. I might not have to. I might just put a cutting edge. And this view is from looking top down from the quick change. Here's the quick change brackets welded on, and there's the hydraulic cylinders there. So the top here. We're going to be building it out of these 1x6 inch flat bar. I bought a bunch of these. I got 45 of these. So this is going to be the main body of the machine. It's going to be built out of these. I have these two hydraulic cylinders. They're 4-inch bore by 8-inch stroke. Well, here's the cardboard template. Oh, shit. Well, here's the cardboard template that I made for it, and you can see how I'm going to mount the hydraulic cylinders there, and you can see where I've got it drawn out here. That's a 6-inch piece of flat bar there. They're going to run all the way along the bottom, and this here is the hole for the pivot point for the jaw, and you can see where they got this. This is the cylinder retracted all the way. And the jaw is this is gonna be a fixed jaw at the end here. There's gonna be another pieces of those 1-inch by 6-inch welded to the end. And the jaw is going to hinge off of here. And it's gonna pivot through this arc here. And it should be able to get about a 14-inch piece in the top. And by the time this is all the way to the end, then it's gonna be 4 inches or less. So it should work fine. And it's going to be pinned onto the excavator up in this area here. I've got my template for the quick change brackets. So this area here is going to be where the quick change bracket's going to go. And you're going to be able to use it like a bucket on the excavator. You're going to be able to scoop them up from here and then crunch them, and then it'll fall out the bottom here. So let's get started. Okay, so I got these big pieces of plate here cut out here for the bottom of the device, and they were 26.5 inches long, so I used the two middle ones with their full length, but the outside ones weren't long enough, so I had to add a piece on here. It's just tacked right now. I'll finish welding that solid after. And these pinholes here is 1.5 inch. I just rough cut it with a torch because I don't have anything that'll drill a 1.5 inch hole, so I'm going to give these to my friend with a machine shop, and he'll bore those out properly for me. And this part here, this is where the jaw is going to pin on, and I've got this piece of pipe here. So what I'm going to do with this piece of pipe is I'm going to cut pieces of it. There's going to be 4 pieces of this cut 1 inch thick that are going to be welded into each of these plates. And then 3 pieces cut that are going to be welded into the jaw. And then this shaft, 1.5 inch hardened steel, hot rolled steel shaft, is what the jaw is going to pivot on. And this is one of the pins for one of the hydraulic cylinders, and I had a bunch more of those hydraulic cylinders that were broken, and some of them were bent and stuff, so I went through them all and I found the 3 best ones. We only need 2 for this project, so that should work out fine. And this is the jaw, and I also had cardboard templates made for these pieces too, but they disappeared somewhere, I'm not sure where. So this is all rough cut out with a torch, and I still have to cut these slots out here, because this is 3 pieces of that flat bar, so that'll give me an 18-inch wide jaw. And these pieces up here, this is where the hydraulic cylinder is going to pin on to move the jaw back and forth, one for one hydraulic cylinder, one for the other. And again, I can't drill the holes accurately, so I just rough cut it with a torch. Off to the machine shop it goes to get those bored out. And as I was starting to say, I still have to cut out these pieces here so that it can clear these 2 jaws here, because I want to have it opened at the bottom. I thought, well, I could just continue these all the way out and then have 2 or 3 4-inch by 5.5-inch holes, and that's one way of doing it, but I think it'll just work better if I just have a bigger hole here, because the whole idea of this device is to break down those big chunks so that I can get them through my jaw crusher and make gravel out of it. It's not to make gravel on its own. If I wanted to do that, you know, I'd have to probably add a thicker piece of reinforcement out here to the bottom to make the bottom part of the jaw narrower, and then I could just sit there and move the jaw back and forth like this until all the pieces fell out. I've seen them on YouTube. There's companies that make these machines, and that's how they work. Like, you just sit there. Some of them are automated, where you just push the lever once and then the jaw moves in and out on its own. And they also have some type of overload protection, so if you get something in there that won't crush, that it won't just blow the hoses or whatever, it'll kick out. So I'm probably gonna have to, I have that on the excavator already, so I don't really want to depend on that, but I have a feeling that this thing with those 2 cylinders is going to be plenty strong enough to break those concrete chunks. So I'm not too worried about that. Great, I got it back from the machine shop. And he had to cut the ends of these off so that he could turn this in his lathe and machine this out. And so I have to tack this all back. So what I did here is I chamfered this all out with a zip cut and a grinder. And I've got 2 of them held with this pin here and with this spacer here to get them back welded the same length. So I'll do like 2 pairs, that should be fine. And then these are the little spacers here, these are going to be welded into there. And then I have this big piece here that's going to fit through all of them along here to hold all 4 here. And then this end here, this is going to be for 1 hydraulic cylinder at each end of this. So it's alright if these 2 ends here, this one and the other 2, are slightly off, but this one has to be the same. Okay, I got these inserts welded in and ground flat. And here's the jaw. I got this roughed out here, tacked together. Shaft turns real nice in there. Welded a lifting hook on the top, because there's no way I'll be able to lift this now. It's probably 150 pounds. Besides, I'm going to have to take it out from time to time to sharpen the teeth anyways. Alright, I got the base of it tacked together. You can see here's where the hydraulic cylinders are going to fit on each side. And it's hitting down at the bottom here, so I'm going to have to lift the jaw off or hinge it down as far as I can and trim the bottom of a couple of those supports there, because it needs to come back this way more in order to be able to attach the hydraulic cylinder up here. So we'll get to that next. Okay, hydraulic cylinders are mounted now. A bit of trouble there fitting these pieces here, but it should work fine once I get that all welded in solid. Well, here's the fixed jaw that's going to be welded to the front part of the crushing unit that the movable jaw is going to crush the concrete up against. Got a temporary lifting hook welded on there. And the rebar pieces are so that when the concrete chunks push against it, they crack a lot easier if they hit on a high spot than it would if it was just hitting on a big flat area. And making some points to install on the movable jaw to crush the concrete easier. A hardened steel rod there. I'm so glad I got those ceramic inserts. They work great. There's about 8 of them made now. I should be able to get 20 of them out of that bar. Alright, I got her all welded up solid. Moved it outside on this nice rolling cart. And I welded this all, most of it's all welded with 7018, but some of these joints here that I thought were more critical, I welded with 11018. And this is the movable jaw here with the studs welded on it. That's all welded up solid too. And then we have this jaw here is the fixed jaw. I got it hanging from the engine hoist. I'm going to be attaching this now to the main frame. Alright, we got this front piece here welded on solid, and I've got all these pieces cut here that are gonna fill in the sides here. So, well, before I get too carried away welding the sides on this thing, I have to come up with a way to keep these pins in that hold the hydraulic cylinders on. So I welded this piece in the center here is welded to the pin. I had to weld a nut to the housing there, and I drilled farther in as far as I could so I have some relief for the bolt. And the bolt fits in there, holds that in, and these guys stop this from turning. I did the same thing up here, and there's just enough room. You can just get this out. You can get each of these pins out. So this should be alright. And they fit in there nice and tight, so they shouldn't rock back and forth too much, and hopefully it won't break the bolt off. But you know how things go. If it does do something like that, then I'll just have to just tack it on there with a weld to hold it in if I ever have to take the cylinder out and rebuild it. Alright, I got one side tacked together. Here's the template I made for this piece in here, because that doesn't have to be 1 inch thick. There's the piece there on a 1/4 inch thick T1 plating. So got this tacked together. I'll tack the other side together and then start welding. There, I got the quick change brackets clamped onto the excavator. Then I used the running machine to jockey that section of the quick change in place with the attachment, get it all squared up where I want it, clamp it in place, and then tack it. Well, all the welding and grinding's done. Now we have to lift the jaw back in, and then we're gonna give her a paint job and assemble the hydraulics. Oh, here she is painted. So it looks like painted. I got the hydraulic cylinders installed and greased. Now we're going to install the hoses. actually works great. It doesn't even slow it down. It just tears through that concrete like nobody's business. You can see on the opposite side there, it's touching a little bit there on the side, so I had to get in there with a grinder and grind a bit of relief there for it. And brand new quick disconnect. It has to leak. I don't know why that is, but these things always seem to leak somewhat whether you're using them or not. And if you put those caps on, it'll slowly build up enough pressure in there when it's not being used to pop the cap off. So it's annoying, but other than tying a rag around it, there's nothing I can really do about it. I mean, I've cleaned it and you tighten it up as tight as you can, and it is annoying. But anyways, here is the product that it makes. Crushes it down to 4" minus, so they'll have no trouble at all putting this through that small jaw crusher. And here's the fines. This stuff's all ready to use as is, so I would say that this project is a success. Pretty heavy for my little excavator though, but I can still extend the boom all the way without tipping the machine, and it'll pick up probably 100-pound piece of concrete in there and handle it no problem. So I'm happy with it.
The city streets are empty now, lights don't shine no more, and so the songs are way down low, turning. The sound that flows into my mind, echoes of the daylight, of everything that is alive in my blue world. I turned to stone when you were gone. I turned to stone. Turned to stone when you're coming home. I can't go on. The dying embers of the night, fire fades till dawn, still glow upon the wall so bright, burning, burning. The tired streets that hide away, here till everywhere they go. I pass my door into the day in my blue world. I turned to stone when you were gone. I turned to stone. Turned to stone when you're coming home. I can't go on. Turn to stone when you are gone. I turn to stone. Yes, I'm turning to stone because you ain't coming home. Why you ain't coming home? I'm turning to stone. You've been gone for so long and I can't carry on. Yes, I'm turning to stone. The dancing shadows on the wall, two-step in the hall, are all I have since you've been gone. Burning, burning, it's all I sit here and I wait. I turn to stone, I turn to stone, and we'll return again someday. In my blue world, I turned to stone when you were gone. I turned to stone. I turned to stone when you're coming home. I can't go on. Turned to stone when you are gone. I turned to stone. I turned to stone when you were gone. I turned to stone. Turned to stone when you coming home. I can't go on. I turn to stone. When you are gone, I turn to stone. Hey, that was Turn to Stone from the Electric Light Orchestra off their 1977 album, Out of the Blue. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.